So we are here at the Riverwalk at Brandy Fenton Memorial Park, and we're just going to talk a little bit about lending.
Yay!
So what happens if I were to call you? I'm a buyer. If I were to call you and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house, what do you do? What's the process?
First things first is I'll either set up a meeting with them in person or I'll talk to them on the phone. And really it can be done in about 10 minutes. I'll be setting up basically their entire file by asking them questions basically about their personal information, where they've lived the last 2 years, where their current income sources are, and what their assets are. There's a couple of other questions that we ask, but really in that nutshell, in that 10 minutes, I can determine really what potentially your loan options are. And it really is one process that, although it seems like it's a lot, it really can take only 10 minutes to find out really what your options can be. And that's my job as a loan advisor to say, okay, here's what you can do. Let's find out what your credit score is. It would take me about an hour after we do that call to give you all the options available to you to be able to find out what you could qualify for or what steps you need to take to qualify.
That sounds really easy.
It is easy if you can believe it. And a lot of people are just afraid of really maybe what their credit history was, maybe that something happened years ago that they're like, oh, I don't know how that impacts us.
Mm-hmm.
But really, your credit history and your credit score is something that it's an algorithm that's done for lenders and mortgages. It's different than what you see sometimes in Credit Karma. So people say, okay, my Credit Karma score is such and such, so this means this is what it is. Well, your credit score is not always what your Credit Karma score is, because the mortgage algorithm by the credit reporting agencies and the credit bureaus really have different weights to different things. So when you see that score, don't just assume that that's where you're going to be at. Have a lender run your credit score to find out exactly where you stand.
One of the things that a lot of people come to me telling me is, well, I'm not ready to buy a house yet because I'm going to pay off X, Y, and Z, and they have a whole plan of their own. Is that a good idea to just pay everything off?
Right, that's definitely not always the case. Really, when you look at your credit history, when we pull your credit report, it's going to tell us what your current monthly debt obligations are, and also your credit history. That monthly debt obligations is not based on your total debt load. It's based on your minimum monthly payments. Maybe you have installment loans like a car loan. Maybe you have credit cards, so you have minimum payments. That's what we tally up on a monthly basis, because our job as lenders is to figure out how much you can afford to purchase a house based off your monthly income and your monthly debt obligations. So paying off all your debt might cost you, and may cost you some of the down payments that you might need, down payment funds that you might need to use later on when purchasing a house. So really, do not look to pay off all your debts until you've consulted with a lender.
Wow, I think that's something that a lot of us get confused about. It seems like you should just pay everything off.
Right, and I've gotten clients who don't have any debt, and they feel that makes them ultra qualified to buy a home. And unfortunately, when we pull your credit report, it does give us your credit history, and what a lender wants to see is that you have the pattern of being able to pay back. So just because you don't have any debt doesn't mean, or you don't have any credit cards, or don't have anything that you've made payments on over the last several years, that doesn't mean that you show a pattern of being able to be responsible to pay on a monthly basis. So really, having a credit card, having some payments that you make on a monthly basis, on-time payments, and making sure you're paying the minimum amount really is important to make sure you get your credit score at the highest level. Because again, your higher your credit score, the better interest rate you can get.
So let's say that I call you and we go through this whole process, and I'm pretty excited, because I want to buy a house. And then I find out that it's not time yet. What happens? Is it just over? Do I have to wait a couple of years, or what?
No. Well, again, part of our loan advisor position, when you come to us and you ask, okay, can I qualify for a home? We do all the analysis about what your credit score is, what your income is, what assets you have, and what options you have that maybe can supplement those circumstances. And if you're not there yet, maybe let's just say your credit score needs a little bit more help. That doesn't mean you have to wait, X amount of years. You're able to repair your credit taking various steps. So whether it's maybe you're a little short on income, well, maybe there's a way that you're going to think that you can find a co-applicant. Maybe there's a parent that can sign on to your loan, that can co-sign for you and help you qualify for the loan if you feel that that's the appropriate step and that's a good option for you. But there are other ways to make sure that you understand, just because you can't qualify at that moment, it doesn't mean you're out of the picture for, 2 years or years away. It could just be a matter of a couple months, just a matter of things and steps that we analyze for you and give you some advice.
Are you able to project a timeline that I might be able to buy?
Credit repair is a little bit, the credit score repair can be a lengthier process depending on what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Again, every instance is different. So really, where your credit score, if it's just a little bit off, it might just take a couple minor steps immediately that we can take care of and help.
Yeah.
But otherwise, everything is unique. The amount of steps that it takes will be determined by really your circumstances.